Hey, what's up everyone? We are doing a new, it's not a bait today. It's something I wanted to talk about, but it's not a bait. We're gonna talk about, it is a product though. It's a product that you use, you always use it. Everyone that fishes uses it. I do have some questions about it. I do have a lot of people ask me maybe like what I think the best hook is and things like that. This is a hook thing, okay? It's gonna be one hook. And I truly believe this is, when I say it's the best hook ever, what I mean is it's the best hook ever in a way that you can throw it for everything. It will work. It's the most consistent hook I've ever found. I can do more things with this hook than any other hook, right? So I think it is the best hook there is, because if you're unsure on how to rig something, what hook matches with what, why, this is the hook. Okay. I have them in like basically 3 different sizes. I think with those 3 sizes, I can basically do almost everything. I mean, literally almost everything. I can rig almost anything out there with this hook. And it's basically because of the way the hook's designed. And that's why I think it's the best. And we're gonna go over that, okay? But here it is. Let me break out my hook box. It's the Owner Cutting Point Offset Wide Gap Hook. So y'all can see, offset, worm, wide gap hook. Okay, it's their cutting point one. And we're gonna get into why. So you got the 5, 4, 3, and the 2. I don't know why I thought there was 3 sizes that I can do. I need 4 sizes. I'd say 3 sizes the majority of the time. I'd say the least size hook I throw is probably the 4/0. Now, for some of y'all though, it might be the 5/0 that y'all throw the least. And the only reason is I throw the 5/0 a ton. But maybe it's because I'm down here in Texas. Maybe it's because we fish with a little bit bigger baits than everywhere else. So we kind of get used to throwing something big, and we can get away with it. That's really all it is. Like if I can get away with it, that's what I'm gonna throw. So let's go over these 4 sizes real quick, and I'll explain everything it can do. Now, the 5/0. This one, this is what I do a couple things on, but mainly this is what I throw like big worms on. Any kind of big bait, right? So say I had, let's get something out real quick. This 5/0 hook, say you get something like a big rage crawl. So say you get this big rage crawl and you're gonna put it on a Carolina rig. Maybe you're just gonna go flip it. Maybe you're just gonna Texas rig it. That big rage crawl is a fairly big, you can get away with a 4/0 too, but that 5/0 just fits it perfect. Okay, it takes up the whole bait, so that way if they do grab it further down here, every once in a while they do grab it here, but if they grab it anywhere they grab it, you want the hook further down here. So that's why I'll go with a bigger hook sometimes. So it fits a rage crawl perfect. Also, things like the caffeine shad, right? So this is like a Strike King caffeine shad. I'm gonna throw this thing around. I can rig this Texas rig. Same thing. Go do that today, but can't do everything. I haven't caught anything big though. Here he is. A little bit better fish. Same deal, like kind of going slower so I can feel him eat it. Giants yet, but I mean, like I said, guys, sometimes this is just about getting bites. Maybe something. I kind of sometimes want that heavier hook and that bigger hook because I kind of want the weight of it, right? So now it fits the caffeine shad perfect. So I'll throw like big worms, like all big worms, anything over like 9 inches, 8, 9 inches. I'm throwing this 5/0. I throw it on Carolina rigs for like the big game hog. You know, a lot of times we throw just the regular game hog, but the bigger one, I'm gonna throw a 5/0. Caffeine shads, big worms, I mean a whole bunch of things. I'm throwing this 5/0. So I do like the 5/0. The 4/0 is basically the same thing, okay? And what I mean by that is some people just have this weird, that 5/0 hook they think is big. Now, like I said, I'm from Texas, and we've been throwing 5/0s our whole lives. So 5/0 to us aren't even a big hook. This 4/0 kind of like that in between, where a lot of guys don't like the 5/0. They'd rather throw the 4/0. And the 4/0 can pretty much go into the same bait, right? Some guys just like, I don't know, man. I'll be honest with you. I think they've been told that smaller hooks are better. Like a fish can't see it as well. Look, to me, it's the same thing. Okay. So the 4/0 can fit a lot of these same application. Now, the 3/0 where it starts to change. So the 3/0 is going to fit a couple different things. Okay, I'm not going to get them out, but what they are like trick worms, game hogs, like the baby game hog. The Carolina rig, I'd say 95% of the time I'm throwing a 3/0 hook, and it's all on a Carolina rig. And I like 3 things on a Carolina rig. If y'all don't know, go check out my Carolina rig videos. But I've said this over and over and over again. There's 3 baits that I love, okay? It's the trick worm, so like a 6 or 7 inch trick worm. It's the game hog, and it's the super fry. The 3/0 hook, it does all those well, all 3 of them. So like what's cool is when I am Carolina rigging, I can throw that 3/0 hook, I can leave it on there and switch out all 3 of those baits and never have to change out the hook. I go through quite a few 3/0 hooks. I don't really Texas rig with a 3/0 hook. I don't really do a lot of other things with it. I throw a lot of Carolina rigs. I can do a lot of things with it. Like if I was going to throw some of those baits, Texas rigging or stuff, I would probably throw a 3/0 hook. Once again though, I rarely Texas rigs any of those baits. Like I'm not gonna go probably throw a Texas rig super fry, although I know people that do and catch them on it. I kind of like it on the Carolina rig. It's just my preference. I'm just telling y'all what I do, okay? And the last and least is, this is crazy, and I'm surprised people, I don't know if people are shocked by this, and I'm not saying I'm this like drop shot king. I've been drop shotting now for probably 12 years, like a lot. And when we started doing it down here in Texas, we weren't really drop shotting like everyone else. We were throwing a lot on bait casters and stuff, because we didn't need to go light line. We didn't go really, like 15-pound test line is what we threw a lot, and we just didn't really go like this extreme light line. Now, what I'll say is everywhere I go, and I seem to catch them everywhere I go drop shotting, I throw this 2/0 hook. And the reason I throw this more is because we're rarely drop shotting for smallmouth, right? So if you're not drop shotting for smallmouth, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to go with this hook. I don't, almost all the time. And I'm going to go with this hook for one reason. It's weedless, okay? I can throw, let me see if I have one in here. Y'all know I like the filler worm. The filler worm is now my new favorite drop shot bait. I'll be honest, before that it was the Dream Shot. And I still throw the Dream Shot a lot. I got to throw something on a drop shot. And so this new filler worm came out. I've been throwing it a lot. I'm just kind of addicted to it. So I just like to rig it Texas rig. And I just Texas rig it in there, make it come back out, and stick it back in. Well, so now I can throw this around anything. And I don't lose anything. It fits this weight perfect. It fits this worm perfect. It looks good on there. And my deal is this, and if you notice, this is what I like. We're going to get into this hook. I just like this thing because it's weedless. So I'm always throwing, like on live scope, seeing brush piles, seeing different things. I can just throw this right in the middle of one and it never get hung up. And that's what I want. And I seem to get plenty of bites on it. So this is my favorite. This is it. I throw this 2/0. That's what I do. So I can bait. There's so many things, applications I can do with these hooks. Like I said, I think I can do almost anything I want to with them. Now, on a straight worm, if you notice that, do you see how that hook, when it's kind of perfect, it kind of does stick out a little bit? I know a lot of people like to throw like straight shank hooks, right? With it that doesn't have the bend right here. And they do that because when they set the hook on this drop shot, that hook kind of comes through. So they kind of bury it inside like this. Let me explain what I'm saying. they'll bury it inside, not this hook, but a straight shaped hook. They'll bury it inside like this. And it's gonna come out because it doesn't have that bend. But this is what's great about this hook. This is what I love about this hook. This is why I think it's the best hook. Not only does it fit everything, okay? This is the main thing. This is the most important thing about this Owner cutting point offset wide gap hook. Here's the line tie. Here's the hook point. You have this clearance. Does that make sense? Do you see the clearance? Does that make sense? You see the clearance on it? So when you pull here, the hook's getting them here. A lot of them, the line tie and the hook are in line, and it doesn't give that gap for you to hook one really good. This leaves all that gap. That's why it almost always sticks them. That's why I laugh sometimes when guys are like, man, you throw that on a drop shot? Well, look, I don't need people telling me that this is the right hook. I just don't. And I'm doing it to y'all. I don't really ask certain people things about certain things unless I have issues. Well, I was out on the water. I ran out of these so-called drop shot hooks, and I just started throwing that. I never lost anything. I kept on throwing it, and then years and years go on. I never really lose anything on it. So it's hard for me when someone says, hey, this is a better hook, and they tell me why. And I'm like, okay, well, if I go catch 100 fish, right, over whatever, in a day or over a week, and I don't lose any, well, why is that hook not any better? I mean, if I don't lose them, right, my whole purpose is not to lose fish with the hook. That's my entire purpose. There's no other purpose than that. And if it doesn't lose fish, it's very hard for someone to convince me that there's a better hook out there. And I'm not saying I've never lost a fish. That's not what I'm saying. It doesn't seem to be an issue of mine. I don't seem to lose fish with this hook. Plain and simple. It's the only thing I need to know. If people ask me about that, that's what I'm going to tell them. I'm going to go, hey, go try this. You might start losing fish on it. I don't know. I doubt it. But once you go start throwing it, and if you don't lose fish on it, you don't have to overthink this, guys. It's pretty simple. I don't need anyone else telling me that there's a better drop shot hook. And they could tell me all the reasons why. And I'm like, hey, man, I don't lose fish on it. Your reasons don't matter to me. If I don't lose fish, I'm fine. And you might have hooks like that. A lot of guys are always asking, this isn't a hook for beginners. It's just a hook. It's an all-around hook that if you don't know maybe how you should rig something, or like, man, I wonder what hook I really need for this, a new technique, something is like, oh, I need to throw a caffeine shad today, and like, what hook you think's the best? Well, just throw that one. Just try that one out. And then all of a sudden you're like, hey, I'm not really losing anything on this thing. There you go. Right? It's really how I've learned almost everything in fishing, is I just kind of tried it. And then when things work, I never stop doing it. I only change when I start having problems. But I don't have problems. That's why I wanted to make this hook video, because like I said, I don't want 14 million different styles of hooks in there for each little specific technique, when I think maybe that's overrated. That's my opinion. So I like a hook that's built the right way and can do multiple things. That way I don't have to really overthink it. Like, the hook isn't going to be an issue of me losing a fish. I already know I'm throwing the right hook. So if I lose a fish, it's probably something different. Maybe the wrong rod. Maybe I set the hook wrong. Whatever it is, I know it's not the hook. That's the way I look. I'm trying to get rid of all the variables of why I lost a fish. The hook's never the issue anymore for me with that cutting point, you know? So that's my video I wanted to do. I think it's the best overall hook you could go and get for bass fishing. That's a bold statement, but I'm saying it. I truly believe that. And you can get away with probably 3 sizes, 4 depending on, like I said, the 4 and 5, it just kind of depends on where you live in the country. I think and if you're really going after really, really big fish, go for the 5. If you think you can kind of more comfortable with the 4, go with the 4. The other ones I think are a little bit more specific on what bait to throw with what. But like I said, I mean, I can go on and on. I mean, I I throw that 5 all the time on swing heads, right? On like swing heads, man, I throw it. Strike King has that one that you can just put on there, and we're going to do a video on that one. I don't really want to do a video on that one yet, because I think that's the best swing head on the market because of what you can do with it, and you can put your own hook on it. That's why I like it, because I wanted to put this 5/0, offset wide gap hook on there from Owner. I wanted to put that hook on there because I didn't like the hook that kind of comes with them. That's why we're going to get into the Strike King one. The Strike King wobble head is freaking legit. It's freaking awesome because you can interchange hooks. So we'll get into that. But like, I do it for that. I do a lot of things with that hook. All right. Hope you enjoyed all about hooks. Really, not all about hooks, all about one hook.